Welcome back, everybody, to episode 7. You said 7, yeah,
Think so.
7 of Traitors Up North. Listen, man, we just might as well dive right in. We got a last weekend was pretty intense, but nothing compared to what's coming up this weekend. So Ohio State at Rutgers last weekend, shaky start. I think we're all kind of used to that by now from the Buckeyes. Never really know what to expect in that first half. Um, They scored more points than I thought they would, and I'm not trying to throw any shade at the Rutgers. I noticed they're doing a lot better this year than they have in previous seasons, but they're definitely putting up a fight in that first half. What'd you think of McCord, Mike, in that first half? You seen anything better, anything worse? I mean, what are your thoughts so
He's,
far?
he's still he's still butt.
Still, but uh,
Still butt. I don't like McCord, dude. He's still butt.
I mean, I think, and it's a tough subject. I think there's a lot of Ohio fans that are kind of split right now with that because they see things that are really good, but it's almost like those good things they don't kind of they show up when it's a little bit too late. Not saying as not too late as in like we're losing the game because of it, but I think there are mistakes that are happening that could lose us a game. To win to some real competition when it comes down to it, and I just they're mistakes that could put us in a situation where we're chasing another team to a win in the second half, and I still want to be put in that position. I'm not gonna sit here and dog him because he does have good stats. If you compare him to JJ stats this year, they're very similar. I noticed somebody said that it kind of like everyone understands why he's getting the criticism he is, and that's because of where he plays and who was there before him, right? But when you're comparing him to JJ and looking at similar stats, a lot of people are saying it's kind of rude how we're treating him at the same time because of those similar stats between him and JJ, right? Because on one hand, you got JJ McCarthy, who's being praised as a Heisman contender, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, improving every week, and you got Kyle McCord, who is realistically has similar stats, but can't really get the upper hand from anybody. And I thought that was kind of interesting because we're doing it every week. We're coming here, we give him criticism, we give him praise, and I feel like we're pretty real about it. Um, it's just a prestigious school. Certain mistakes can't happen, but certain mistakes will happen. He's not costing us games yet, though, and I respect him for that.
It's a
Uh,
standard. It's a standard that
yeah,
previous quarterbacks at that school have already set. They put the bar real high, man. He got big shoes to fill.
exactly. I
That's
mean, it's
tough.
not
Very
that's not his
huge
fault.
shoes.
It's not his fault, that he's like has those shoes to fill. When he's throwing picks that are just unnecessary, yeah, that's his fault. You know, it's Brian Day's come out and said, they talk about it. Kyle knows when he messes up, those things will happen. But he's not really showing me any signs of like, oh God, he's gonna lose us a game. Not yet, at least.
I
Um,
mean, he held his own against Penn State.
he did. He's on against Penn State, and he probably had one of the best final drives I've seen from Ohio when they played Notre Dame earlier this season. I mean,
That's a crazy drive.
in previous years, we're not even really in those positions because we're just stomping people with a power five offense all around. So it was honestly cool to see the effort and the communication from the team that was put in to win that game. But I don't think I mean the Rutgers game. It is what it is. It could have been way worse. It could have been better. They pulled out. They got the win. I mean, Marvin Harrison is continuing to have 100-yard reception games week after week after week. It's honestly mind blowing what that kid's able to do right now. I
Yeah,
think
Talk
he's
about
balling. He balling.
I
we
think
got to talk about Travion, boy.
dude Travion Henderson is something different. And it's crazy too because that's not the same kid we saw last year. Last year
He
was all
opens up
about
our
Mine
offense a
Williams.
lot.
I mean, you can definitely tell from the past 2 weeks that Travion's actually been playing. You can see that he's a major game changer in our offense,
But yeah,
and it takes a lot of pressure off McCord, which I think is good, because yeah, he plays good, but I think once we start putting when it's like hey, if you don't throw 30 balls that second half, we're gonna lose. And I feel like any quarterback would feel a little bit of pressure in that situation. Doesn't matter who, unless maybe Bo Nix can handle that type of pressure because he's seen everything that the game has to offer. But
Swear.
when you got a first, this is your first time playing in the big boy leagues, that pressure will definitely get to you. And I think that's what happened to Drew Aller and we played him. Penn State, obviously, usually a very good running team, but once they noticed that we stopped that and all the pressure fell on Drew Aller, hey, you got to go 30 for 40 in the second half or we're losing. It's
he
just pressure that
turned
couldn't be
into a
handled.
pooper.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's not to say that Drew Aller won't be nice next year. I'm sure he will be. Penn State's, they're definitely showing that they're a team that's going to keep evolving. If they keep their recruits up, I think Penn State's in the top 10 next year easily.
Oh yeah.
Without
Look. I wanted to say this, bro.
Go
In the
ahead.
third quarter, you know that pick six y'all had?
Yes,
Yep.
very lucky.
Um, That's a tough position to be in. If you're playing Georgia and you're down 9-7 in the third quarter and they're pushing the red zone, getting ready to score,
They're going to score.
that's a tough spot to be. That's a hard hole to climb up out of. You know what I mean? Y'all
Yeah.
could do it versus Rutgers. Y'all could do it. You know what I mean? Fourth quarter ball out. You know what I mean? Do whatever, whatever, whatever. But man, that's a tough spot to be
No,
in.
yeah, it's definitely nerve wracking, especially because like if you look at all the teams in like the top six, right? Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Oregon. Right now, like there's a lot of people arguing about the numbers. Oh, if they played tomorrow, this team would win. But right now, if any of those teams played tomorrow, they could all beat each other.
Hmm. Any given day, bro. Any
Every
given
single one of
day.
those six teams could probably beat each other on the circumstances. Like where are you playing at? Is it a neutral zone? You know what's going on. They could probably all beat each other at the right time. So it's definitely hard to say. Um, I am a little tired of people complaining about it just because like it's just dude, it's just the resume. If Georgia had already played 3 ranked games this season, there's no doubt they'd be number one. It is what it is. Um, I think the game could have been a little bit better, but I'm not disappointed. The defense continues to impress me week after week. Yeah, it was a little shaky. I didn't like, losing at halftime to the Rutgers. That's definitely a humbling moment, I think, for anybody. Um,
All Ohio State fans' stomachs was dropping at
oh
half.
yeah,
They're
dude, I couldn't
Oh,
even finish
yeah.
my lunch. I can't,
like, what were you eating? You was sick.
dude, I
Couldn't
had
eat
some Wendy's nuggets. I was like, these was are too tasty. Then I looked at the TV. I was like, no, I lost my appetite. I can't eat this shit right
Can't
now.
do it. Can't do it.
I will say we scored better than Michigan by 4 points.
I noticed that. We
Gotta say
technically did
so.
score more. I mean, honestly, bro, this is a Rutgers team I don't think any of us have ever seen before.
No, they're different.
Something
Usually they're like 2-7 by now.
I was
Yeah,
t- when I was
I haven't
listening to
really been keeping up with them. Like,
it's not a team that no one is going to keep up with. You know what I mean? They just kind of just like with the whole
Unless you live in New
Washington,
Jersey.
like with the Washington thing. Like who was really keeping up with Washington? But boom, now here they are,
yeah,
top
dang,
top 10 team.
they've only lost to Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of got to give it to them there because usually they would be like the
I
Detroit
think they lost.
Lions
I
of
think they
college.
lost to one other team.
Yeah, they were 6-2 and we played them right, so they should be
Yeah,
six and
yeah.
three.
They should have lost to somebody else.
This must not be the. Oh, here, going full schedule. I
But
wasn't even.
I don't know who else they lost to and how close that game was, but
Must have been Penn
Lost
State,
to Wisconsin.
okay.
Wisconsin.
And see, in
I lost.
Wisconsin's really not that bad of a team. They're Wisconsin's one of those teams where it's like they could upset you. They shouldn't, but they definitely
But
could.
they could.
They could. And there's a lot of teams like that where they're like it's almost like a sleeper team, you know? It's like it's not somebody you should have to worry about, but if you put
Like
yourself in that position of talking down on them, just underestimating, they come out there and win.
2018 Iowa.
Mhm.
That was bad.
I'm going to say it
Man,
doesn't
That was bad.
even if it's by a field goal, man, they could do it to you. Yeah, I kind
Shoot.
of let's come back.
Ole Miss survived this weekend by a field goal.
It happens.
Texas A&M.
Those things happen, but it's unfortunate
Sure
because
do.
those really affect your numbers in the rank system. Because it's like, does it classify as a good win? Like what are they missing their star players? Are their star players in the game? How did they
man,
perform the
they
weeks
take that
before?
so deep. They take them the college football playoff rankings deep, man.
Dude.
Yeah, but it's because like a lot of people are mad this year because when you look at it, right, it's like okay, here's all the teams that are undefeated. Now we're gonna rank you, and then it's immediately okay. Here's all the teams that have 1 loss. Here's a rank. 2 loss. Here's a rank. Because if you go look at the ranks right now, that's exactly what it is. All the undefeated teams are in their own group. Then the 1 loss, and it's I don't know, but I mean it makes sense. Like to me, it makes sense. I understand where they're coming from because like why would somebody that has 1 loss be put over teams that are undefeated at least this early? Still, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe at the end of the year when this team loses to them and then the numbers fluctuate. Like I get that. Just like when I mean we only got in last year, right? Because Utah beat USC.
Yep. Twice in one season.
Yeah, shout out to Utah. So
Shout out to Utah.
I
I was the
felt
biggest Utah fan.
I felt so bad when we sold for them, but
We
it
had
wasn't
to.
by much, man. The Bucks played their heart out against Georgia last year. It
Just
was
the way
it
the
was a
script
very
goes.
it was a winnable game.
It was a winnable game.
But yeah, let's I kind of want to dive back into Marvin for a second, dude. Do I think he will win the Heisman? Probably not. but I think he's very deserving of the Heisman Trophy. It's just who else is doing what he's doing. You know, I understand they throw.
Receiver wise, nobody.
I understand they're throwing the ball to him a lot, but when someone like that exists on your team, why would you not?
Yeah, you got to utilize him, right?
It's like Matthew Stafford to Calvin Johnson. Like, why would you not throw to him? Who's gonna tell him he can't catch that ball? Basically, nobody.
Mhm.
I mean, and so far, that's been shown too, because Penn State, you know, they have a pretty good secondary, and they couldn't stop him. Notre Dame has a great defense, and they couldn't stop him. So it's why not utilize the best receiver in the country? It's foolish. Because I've seen
It
people
is.
talk down on Ohio State, like, oh, you overuse him. If he was on your team, I know damn well that he would have 15 receptions a game from your QB.
It's like a cheat code.
Just like last year at Michigan, Blake Corum's getting like 20, 30 carries a game. Why? Because he's doing numbers. Every time he has the ball in his hands, he's doing. Why would you not give it to him?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be smart about it. You don't want him to get hurt, but if he's looking like he's not going to get hurt and nobody can touch him, why not? And that's kind of how I'm feeling with Travion right now. Like, dude, that guy's making plays, whether it's a little screen pass or his own individual run. I mean, I know you saw against the Rutgers. I'm pretty sure it was a game against the Rutgers. It was like third and 6, 3rd and 9. McCord hits him like a little 4-yard slant. And he runs for 65 yards. The dude is explosive.
Weapon.
He's a little
He
tank.
is. If he can stay healthy, he's good.
If
He's just had health
everyone
issues
can
this whole
stay
time.
healthy, I see Ohio playing for the national. If everyone can stay healthy and it consistently improve in the little areas that need to be, I can see them doing it. Because I don't see the defense making a lot of mistakes right now. And if they do, it's nothing they can't fix.
That's
Honestly,
a lot of big games. That's a lot of big games to get there. Because we're gonna have to beat Michigan regular season.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to win the Big Ten championship, right?
Yep.
Right, but okay, hear me out. We beat Michigan, right? I mean, who's really going to beat Ohio in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, the Big Ten
Nobody.
championship is always lopsided every year.
Every time, yeah, because it's just always like, okay, here's the powerhouse. This guy's going to whoop your ass and go in the playoffs, and you know you're just kind of here because you have to be. Sorry, dude. You happen to be good enough to be here, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See, we got. I mean, is there anything really to talk about this weekend, bro, for Ohio State and Michigan State? Like, maybe if we were in Lansing, there'd be maybe something to talk about. But like, they're coming to the shoe. We're wearing alternate uniforms. It's a special night. Like, what are they gonna be able to do?
Have you seen the uniforms yet, Donovan?
I'll show you real quick.
Pull them up.
Dude, these bitches are
Up, dude.
super clean.
Hold on, don't sleep on Michigan.
These are so cold, bro.
It's
Whoa.
Hey.
Yes. It's the BBL special.
I gotta find the picture of Marvin. That's the cold pick.
Dang, the all gray joints.
All gray.
Scarlet gray.
Where's the? I like this video. Look how cold this is. Just for a little promo vid.
Quick preview.
There's one. Where'd it go? There's one where he's putting on the helmet. That shit is hard. The Twitter's been super active recently, man. A lot of our NFL players are doing very well right now. It's very nice to see. Yeah, it's a lot of CJ Stroud, but how can it not be? I mean,
yeah, he had a day, didn't he?
476 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he had the most for a rookie, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's actually from what I've seen, he just tied Tom Brady's record for the most touchdown passes to interception ratio in a single season.
Whoa, why am I blurry?
So that itself is absolutely nuts. I mean, especially because like I've been listening to other podcasts, you know, like a couple old ones about like that draft class from last year and everything going on. Everybody said CJ Stroud was going to be the worst quarterback out of the draft. He had the least amount of chance of success.
Bryce Young, Zach Wilson.
And I don't know if that's just like because most of our QBs aren't very successful in the NFL or if they were actually just like doubting CJ Stroud himself. But he's doing a very good job of proving everybody wrong and making everybody in Columbus proud.
Bro, beat the allegations.
And honestly, like,
I gotta say something about my VFLs, man.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Balls. Have y'all been seeing what's been going on with Josh Dobbs?
Josh Dobbs.
Why does that name sound familiar? Vikings. Is he Vikings?
Huh?
Is he from the Vikings?
Yes, well, he just got traded there mid-season, right? So he had gotten traded there from the Cardinals, I believe. He's a quarterback. He gets there, hasn't taken a snap with the team, hasn't thrown to anybody, doesn't know anyone's names. And in the first half, their starter goes down. So now here he goes. He has to go in there and try to win the game. He doesn't even know these guys' names. He's never taken one snap. He don't know no plays, and he won the game.
I did see that.
That's crazy.
I did see that stuff. Not too much, but I heard about the no snaps, doesn't know their names, comes out there, wins the game. I mean, what a story, dude. What a
Yeah,
fucking
I
story.
watched the Kentucky game with him last year. Tennessee versus Kentucky in the box with him last year.
I love seeing that type of shit though. It's good for the league. It's good for those people. And
Yeah, those Vikings fans need something to cheer for, man.
Dude, they're down bad this year.
they're down
Man.
horrendous, man. I mean, Justin Jefferson's easily top 3 receivers in the NFL. He's gone. Kirk Cousins was really doing his thing, regardless of how people, how good they
He's
think he
old.
is. He is
It's time
old,
to go.
but I mean, he was doing his thing. Like the
It's
Vikings
time
were
to go
kind of
raise his
they were letting
kids.
points get put on them for sure. The Vikings defense is kind of rough, but I mean, they're putting the points back. So if you can win in the shootout, I mean, a win's a win, especially in the NFL, man. That whole blowout shit does not matter like it does in college. There's no standard
No.
really.
Man, hey, was it the Dolphins this year who hung 70 on the Broncos? 70?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lord have mercy. That
You,
was ridiculous.
did you see the video of one of the Broncos players in the locker room after that game? He was like, "I'm sick of this shit, man. 7 years, all I do is lose."
They gave up 70 points. That's a lot of touchdowns, bro.
But then the
That's a
Broncos somehow come
Madden
back and
score,
beat the
dude.
Chiefs. So it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. And then the Dolphins get ran in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
NFL is crazy this season. It's
it
interesting.
sure is.
I
It's some
mean,
good football this
yeah,
fall.
the
I
whole
tell you
the whole
that.
football world this year is very, very
And the
entertaining.
Lions, man. What's up with the Lions?
Dude, they're on bye week, man. We got
That shit's
nothing
crazy.
to talk about this weekend.
I
Bye week
know,
for
but
the
they're going
boys.
crazy.
Oh yeah, they're going crazy. Like I said,
Hopefully we get David Montgomery back. We about
yes,
to get him back.
I hope so. From what I understand, he had a broken rib, so I guess that's kind of personal preference on how the pain tolerance is, and depending what the trainers and medics say. But we'll see. I will say though that in his absence, Jameer Gibbs put on a fucking light show.
Yeah,
Didn't he?
dude.
Didn't he? Oh
I
man.
couldn't believe what I was seeing. If
Very
he,
good.
I will be surprised though if he does not get fined for jumping in the fucking stands with the fans, because you know how the NFL is. You can't be doing none of that cool shit. They don't. That's
Yeah.
a fine. How
No.
much? I'll assume like 15, 20 G's probably, right? Yeah, I mean, you
Probably.
can't I feel like every fine in the NFL's got to be like at least 10 grand.
Yeah, I was watching what's the one show? The one podcast that the ex NFL kicker has, Pat McAfee, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
He's
that
got
guy's
like
a
a little
legend.
show.
That
And
guy's a
it's kind of
legend.
like, yeah, he is. That I be watching that show, bro, all the time on ESPN. And TJ Watt comes on there almost every episode and like FaceTimes in or whatever. And they were going over hits that were causing people fines. And they gave out like a $6,000 fine to DeAndre Swift when he was running the ball because he braced himself and tried to hit somebody. And they said like he led with his head or something
See,
as he
that's
was
just,
running, and they hit him with a fine. It's
it's
like,
just
what?
So
so
weird.
weird because like honestly, I don't even think you should be able to get called for leading with your head if you're the one running the ball. If you're willing to break your own neck for some yards, then that's on you, dude.
For real.
You can't. I don't really see a defender getting too injured from you doing that. I only see really the ball carrier getting fucked up. I don't know. It's just weird because like if you're leading with your head, you're more than likely trying to hit him like what high chest shoulder area. Like they're not gonna take too much damage from that. If they do, they'll
Yeah.
get the wind knocked out of them. You know, maybe some sort of small fracture, but it's nothing those big ass dudes can't handle.
Well, what was his name? DeMar Hamlin?
That
He
situation was so
he couldn't
crazy.
handle it.
That I don't even know what to think of that stuff. For a long time, I couldn't like I had no idea what was actually going on.
I guess he just got hit hard
Conspiracy
enough.
theories started floating around.
Yeah, dude. I guess he got hit hard enough. His heart just stopped.
I mean that's possible that you could get punched in the chest by somebody and your heart could stop if they hit you in the right
Yeah,
spot. What are the chances? Very low, but
very slim.
it could happen. But yeah, there's really not too much to cover, man, this weekend, at least for OSU. It's just
Go
Yeah.
in, don't suck.
Hey, I was talking to some friends about the podcast and all that stuff, and I think maybe next week or sometime in the future on the Traitors Up North podcast, we get one of the people from up north up in here. You know what I mean? To get a different viewpoint, to get somebody from the other side. You know what I mean? Get
I
some
mean,
conflict in here
Do
a
that.
little bit.
We can
dude,
do that. Might get a little heated.
we know
See
hundreds
what
of them.
goes
They're all
on. You know?
around. We could easily
Yeah.
find one.
Yeah.
Now finding a competent
I think
one
that'd be dope, bro.
You're finding a competent one.
might be a little bit hard. I know a few though that are pretty like, I guess, down to earth and like real football fans that like can
Not
actually
just some
discuss.
meat riders.
Yes, people that actually understand the game and see what's going on. Who do you guys play this week, Dun? What's Tennessee got going on?
We're at Missouri.
How are you thinking about that?
Um, I'm still confident we can definitely come out with a win this week, bro. But it is a top 15 matchup.
What are they ranked? Missouri?
I want to say like 13th. Is that? I don't know. Pull them up. Let me pull them up.
Because I would like to say real quick that I noticed that Tennessee was 19. I believe the last time we talked, and that's not the case anymore. They're
Oh no, we're way up since
yeah.
then.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy what 1 week can do for you. You win your game, certain people lose their games. You have no idea where you'll end up.
Who'd you guys play last weekend? UConn?
Yeah, we played UConn. We blew them out. We're 14th.
That's 5 spots, man. That's a huge push.
That is huge.
Missouri 16th.
So and it's it's like is making the playoffs possible for them? Probably not. But ending the season in this good of a position will just give you very high hopes for next season.
Yeah,
Because it
it
shows
would be
consistency.
impossible.
It
It
shows
would be impossible
consistency too. Because last year was arguably their best season, and I don't even know how long.
in a
But
long
now
while.
they're here next season, still top 25. I mean, realistically, still top 20, still making a name, still winning big games. There's a lot of. It's gonna be really, really interesting next year when the 12-team playoff starts.
I mean, they
Yeah,
have a
bro.
chance to go
We're
top 10.
stepping in two with a loss to Alabama and Florida at Florida. We should have had the Florida one, but
I
we're
will.
set.
Yeah, I'll say they should have had the Florida win for sure. Florida's nothing
Should've.
too crazy, but I mean, I'm sure the environment in Florida is. I'm sure that shit is something.
The swamp.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a dangerous place for the average guy. But I mean, you can't really losing Alabama. It's like it. It's just one of those losses. Like, was it a close loss? I feel like we talked about this. Probably we had to have.
Yeah, the
No,
Florida
they
game,
got blew out in the second half.
29-16.
Tennessee did by Bama.
Yeah.
Oh no, to Bama. Tennessee, Bama was.
You guys got fucked up in the second half.
Yep. Was
Bad.
34-20.
I mean, Alabama's still one of those teams that kind of creeping. They're not going out without a fight. I'm sure in the next couple years their decline might start to progress like quicker and quicker. But as of right now, like they're still here. I'm pretty sure they're top
Yeah,
10 right
yeah.
now.
I want to see how the rest of the season plays out for them because they're almost guaranteed a SEC championship game every year because they're in the SEC West and
Right.
Georgia's in the East.
And
You know
who
what I mean?
and like there's not really many of the teams that can take them out of those spots. It is
Right.
what it is.
So they'll definitely probably get a shot at Georgia. So if they win that game, it's a whole nother conversation now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
if that
You could be like, oh my gosh.
here's the thing too. If that happens, right? Say they do play each other in that championship, and Bama beats them, Georgia could get knocked out of the 4 for the playoffs. It's very possible, especially with the way
year.
Shit's been fluctuating recently.
No way.
You don't think so? I mean,
No,
because
because
we're
everyone's gonna have to play championship games.
right.
Oregon and them, they're gonna have to play their championship game and all that stuff. If they all win and Georgia loses,
They're done.
They got to be done.
Someone's getting shifted out. But here's the thing: if Alabama's beats Georgia, right, and knocks Georgia out, surely Bama still doesn't make it though. Somebody else is gonna slide in, and I think that's gonna be Oregon.
oh man, this could get so interesting. So interesting because it could go so many different ways, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, because right
It
now,
really
like,
could.
if you're Oregon, you're playing good football every week. You're throttling these other teams. You're making statements. You're playing very good ball. The defense is solid. They have explosive runners. Bo Nix is just doing godlike things out in that field right now. And if they get the right team to lose, they're there, man. They're already so close, so all they need is that one team to lose. One team to shift the schedule just a tad, and they're in.
It's got to be one of those undefeated teams, though.
There's still a few of them. I don't who all there's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida
Florida
State,
State,
Washington.
Washington. Yep, those are
That's
the only 5.
That's it.
Are there
If
usually this
James
many
if
teams that
James
are undefeated
Madison
though at this
if
time of
James
year?
Madison was eligible, they'd be up there.
Yeah, James, where they ranked 20-some?
23, I think.
Can we talk about
21 now.
can we
How
talk
are
about how
21?
Michigan State lost to them in basketball? It's like
Yeah,
10 seconds. Isn't
that
Michigan
was
State
bad.
like ranked number 4 in basketball and they lost to James
They lost
Madison?
to James Madison.
Man, the whole school's falling apart, man. That
It
shit
is.
that's a trickling effect. That's
It's
bad.
going downhill.
Didn't hit the whole school, didn't it?
Sure did.
That's tough. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, they shouldn't even come to Columbus on Saturday. There's no point.
Man,
It really isn't.
Like, they're in a position where they got no coach that can actually coach them. They're basically hitting a brick wall of almost like no talent left, really. It, and I'm not saying they don't have kids that can play football, because obviously, those kids are good enough to play football there. But they don't have any players that are going to make a difference to win them a game. Like, I don't see Michigan State winning any games for the rest of the year. I don't even know who they play, but I don't think it matters right now. I don't see them winning again the rest of the year.
They could play some poopers and still
Where
lose.
where it gets super interesting though is if Penn State beats Michigan and we lose to Michigan, then you have a 3-way tie. What happens?
I think you just have to go off resume at that point.
Strength of schedule.
Yeah, and Michigan has like the worst.
They do
Yeah.
as of right now. But well, see, that's where it gets tough because after
No, it would have to go to Penn State, right?
but they lost to us. Think about it. Yeah, so we beat Penn State, right? Penn State lost to Ohio State. Say Penn State beats Michigan, but we lose to Michigan. That means all 3 of us have lost one game, and it's 2 of those in that 3 team. So what happens? Because and then at that point, Michigan has their ranked games in, and so do we. We'll have one more because there's Michigan's gonna stay ranked 100%. So we would have 3. Michigan would have 2. I don't know how many Penn State has, but I mean they at least have 1 because they played us. I don't know what the rest of their schedule's been looking like completely, but I mean it gets kind of interesting there when you have that
I don't know
3-way.
if they've played any other ranked team besides us in Michigan this week.
See, then they're in the same boat as Michigan, but what do you do then? You go off strength of schedule or eye test? Because if you go off eye test, then it's going to be Michigan 100%.
Yeah,
No,
but I think they have to go off strength
Do
schedule.
people go off eye test? Who's still going off eye test?
Honestly,
lot
bro, a
of
lot of
people.
people go off eye test. A lot of
A lot of
ESPN
people.
people go off eye test.
But you have to go with the numbers. Michigan's strength of schedule in the FBS is 115th. That is bad.
Ohio's is 15th. So I
Like
mean,
that's bad. And then
that is bad.
then you got all the Michigan people saying, "Oh, it don't matter that we don't play nobody." Yeah, it kind of does.
Well, they can't say that shit next season.
No, they can't.
They can't
Next
say
season's about to get wicked.
next season's outlandish when Oregon and USC make their way in there and fucking.
Washington, UCLA.
Because here's the thing,
Wicked.
Washington.
What was really good?
This stuff could be over for Washington by next season. Like we have no idea if this is like a one-hit wonder for them. But Oregon is going to go into the Big Ten and put work in. They're going to do that. And I'm kind of happy because they get to play. Oregon gets to play Michigan and Ohio State next year. So
Well, it's going to change up the championship a lot too. Once it gets
Oregon's
to
going
that
to have
point.
a good resume. If they can win their big games, they're going to have an outstanding resume. That's what I'm saying, bro. If it's not this year, if Oregon can't sneak their way in this year, I mean, it don't matter now because next year we'll have 12 teams in the playoffs, but Oregon is still going to be top 5 next year again.
Yeah, who's got the advantage here in terms of style of play? Are the Big Ten opponents going to have a bigger advantage over Oregon, or is Oregon's style of play going to hold them a bigger advantage over the Big Ten opponents?
See, and
I think that
go ahead.
I think that might come down to like later in the year when it gets cold.
That's exactly. It comes down to the
Because
weather.
Oregon plays on the West Coast, so they usually just play in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Towards the end of the year, when we start to play Michigan in like the last 2 games of our regular season, that's when it starts to get cold and start to snow.
Does it snow in Oregon? It snows in Oregon, right? It gets cold there. I mean, they're on the water.
Yeah, true. That's true. But they're still on the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like the difference.
At least a little
there's
sun.
definitely a difference in the weather. USC, UCLA, I think that's where there's going to be some big complications for them.
Yeah.
Because those are California
with
teams,
the
right?
weather.
Yeah,
Huh?
those are Cali
Those are
teams.
both Cali teams.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be in for a rude fucking awakening. When they're practicing one week and it's 85 degrees out, but when they go play ball, it's 35 and cold, snowing. They're not going to like that.
Can't see 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah, they're not going to have a good time with that. It's going to be tough for them, but
It is gonna
it'll
be
be
tough.
interesting. I'm excited to see, the talks change from right now we're talking about who's going to get that fifth spot. You know, we got our top four, but who's sneaking into the fifth? Who's going to try to get their foot in the door? To next year, it's going to be okay. Well, who's fighting for that 13th spot?
Yeah, literally.
Because I wonder how much longer it's going to be too. So, do you think that the season will extend with all these playoff games happening, or are they just going to have a fuck ton more games going on over the weekends?
It shouldn't be too many more games, right? Just two. Well, the one seeds will get a bye because it's how many teams?
12.
12. So there should be what, 4 that have a bye?
Yeah, the top four will get a bye, and everyone else
Yeah.
will have to play.
Mhm.
So
So
that's only
it'd be the same amount of games as if you made the college football playoffs. You'd play the first round and championship, right?
Right.
I think if you're a wild card, quote unquote, you just have to play extra.
It
so
is
what
a
happens what happens to all the bowl games? Is that just a bunch of shitter teams now? Everybody that's not in the top 12?
Yeah, because that's interesting. Because they're not gonna make you play that many games, right? Because surely you'd just be exhausted
Yeah.
playing
It's
all
just one
those hard
extra
ass
game, man.
games. Huh?
It's just one extra.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
But does that affect your record if you go play the Cotton Bowl and then you got to go play in the playoffs? Like, does that,
Like if you
or are they
lose the
gonna?
Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, like, is that gonna affect like?
I think they'll just rename because didn't they do that for the college football playoffs? Isn't the first rounds those bowl games? What are they called?
Yeah, like the Rose
Yeah,
Bowl and the whatever
They might
Fiesta
just do
Bowl.
that for.
I can see them doing that.
Yeah, that might make sense.
All right, I think we covered a good amount of the playoff. So we got to dive into the real shit now. 10,
Ooh.
10 pages were released yesterday.
About
Oh, I only read one page. There was
10,
more.
10 pages from Michigan were released yesterday. And in summary, it basically said this. If you continue to try to discipline us for this, we're just going to expose everyone else that's cheating. Not once did they ever deny cheating. All they said was they were going to expose other teams for doing the same thing.
but why did it take them this long to say anything?
I don't know. I mean, they want to take the Big Ten to court.
Well, take them to court. I mean, they've waited this long to say
Because
something. Obviously,
here's
they've
the
been trying
thing.
to think of something to say.
As the Big Ten, they're allowed to do a 2-game suspension and like one other thing. They can't do too much, right? But realistically, they have the power to enable these disciplinary actions whenever they feel like it, for the simple fact of actions that cause, like a disturbance in the season with the games. It like I don't know the words they use, I can't quite remember, but it's basically like unsportsmanship. It's like in the category it's in, like they're doing
Yeah.
flagrant things to affect other teams' playoffs times and like how those games go. So they could give Harbaugh a 2-game suspension for that. Will they right now? I don't think they do. I think it'd be very
Pull this
interesting
on
if they
Twitter.
did. Huh?
Can you pull this up on Twitter?
I can try. This is what I was hearing in podcasts today.
Yeah, because I saw the letter that the people had sent from they were like Michigan State politicians, and they wrote something to the Big Ten, right? Is that how that went?
Yeah, they're basically trying to get lawyers involved, and it's basically saying like if the Big Ten continues to try to discipline us for this, then we're just going to expose everyone else that's cheating. But like that doesn't, there's no defense there to say that they were not cheating. And here's the thing too: is like we all know that stealing signs is perfectly legal, right? If
Yeah.
let's say Donovan's the head coach of Purdue, and Michael's the head coach of Maryland, and Donovan just played Michigan last week, and they play you this week. If you called up Donovan and said, "Hey, what are some notes and some signs that you got from that game?" That's legal. You can do that. And that's what I feel like that's what a lot of these fans are understanding is like the sign stealing itself is legal. It's perfectly legal. Obtaining that information is okay. It's how they went about it that's illegal. You can't send people to games to record and do things. You just can't do the things they were doing. You cannot do. So like at the end of the day, some sort of punishment is deserved, regardless of what that may be. There has to be some type of consequence for tampering with the games and cheating. I don't know how severe it needs to be because there's a lot of up in the air information. There's really not much that anybody still really knows that's factual about what's been going on. Um, Central Michigan hasn't really said much about the whole Connor Stallions being at their game thing.
Yeah, they've been quiet, dude.
I do really believe though that if it was not him, they would have said so by now. It wouldn't have been 2-3 weeks past that going on for them to say, we don't know how he got there. Because if it wasn't him, they'd say that. If that was an actual Central Michigan person, they'd be like, "Oh, that's this guy. He's on our staff. This is his information. He's been here forever." But none of that has come out. None of that has been said. Literally, the only thing I've seen is the head coach saying is, "We don't know how he got there." Wait, first of all, I'm trying to think. How do you not know how he got there? Like you don't just notice a guy who's like there that hasn't been there before. I don't know. It's
The
weird.
head coach probably ain't really paying attention though.
Him, no, but I mean like this. There's other people that got to be like, "Yo, who is that?"
Yeah, true.
Like he wasn't in practice yesterday. He wasn't at our game last week. Like who the fuck is that guy? But no
That's
questions were asked. And I don't know, bro. It's a whole situation that makes me very nervous because it just I don't know. It's like anybody could be doing this shit right now, and with the way it's being handled, is you'll get away with it.
It just sounds like Michigan's is tattling, threatening to tattle on other people. Like, don't punish us. Look, they're doing it too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But why not
Like,
try to defend yourself and say that you just didn't do it?
yeah,
Because now the
unless they
consequence,
knew they did it.
because they just set themselves up to have a consequence no matter what now.
That's true.
I mean, like, do they really think they can sue the Big Ten and win?
I'm sure they thought it through and wouldn't try it if they didn't think it was possible.
Because like, here's my thing, right? I'm sure that the University of Michigan has a lot of money and very good lawyers, but you're telling me that those guys are better than the people, the actual people at the Big Ten are gonna get?
The corporation.
Right. Like, come on, dude. Like, I understand Michigan got money, but you don't have as much money as the conference.
No.
They're making money off every team in the Big Ten. You can't, it's like if you did something stupid at a restaurant, you tried to sue the corporation. Like, you really think you're gonna win that? It's basically like that same type of scale, and I don't know. It's very weird. It's getting to a point where it's like kind of starting to aggravate me, just because I just want something to happen. Whether suspend Harbaugh for 2 games, okay, cool. Something was done at least. It doesn't. You don't have to come out here and strip their bowl eligibility, although that's something that could happen to them. I seen the other day that so far, things that the Big Ten could do to them at least are 2 games without Harbaugh. They could take all their TV revenue. Yes, which is outlandish. To me, that's kind of crazy. Like taking the school's money.
Wow.
They could like limit their broadcasts on national television.
Don't they do that for most games anyway? Like everybody's on Peacock and shit like that.
Yeah. So it's like
So like
if you're
a lot of people aren't even watching a lot of these games. I watch my games on YouTube.
yeah, you've
'Cause
been
I don't
doing
even,
that.
yeah, I'm not paying for all these subscriptions to watch some football,
Well,
dude.
What do you
Everybody's
just on YouTube?
bro,
just
literally,
type in
yeah, if
just
you
type
just
in
search
college
the
football
game,
live.
yeah, or like if say Ohio State was playing like when they were playing Rutgers last weekend, if you went on YouTube and type in Ohio State versus Rutgers and hit enter, you'd see like 2 or 3 of them that are live, and usually only one of them's actually working because of copyright and shit. But yeah, there's somebody there who's streaming the game in maybe 10 seconds or if that behind the real time with decent quality.
I get up, I watch College Game Day on YouTube. I watch all the games on YouTube. Like you can watch. I'd be going back and forth to like 4 games consistently.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that. Because
Yes,
every time
sir.
I've tried that, it'll just be like, click the link in the description.
Yeah, you got to find the right videos that don't have that.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can find basically every game on YouTube.
that's nuts.
Yeah, see, I'm
They
lucky.
ain't getting my money. They're not getting my revenue money.
See, they don't get mine either. I'm lucky that my dad's girlfriend pays for all those streaming services, so I just usually have access to every game for the most part. Man, I'm just excited for this weekend, bro. I'm excited to watch all these big
Big
games.
weekend. Big weekend.
Huge,
A lot
huge,
of good
huge.
games going on. I mean, it's big for Tennessee, big for Michigan, big for Georgia, Ole Miss.
Utah, Washington.
Ooh, yeah.
I actually heard this morning that obviously it would be cool if Michigan lost to Penn State, right? It would do a lot for Penn State as far as their program goes. Next year's recruiting, the money they're gonna make. It would be very good for Penn State to win this game, right? But how bittersweet would it be if they lose? If Michigan beats Penn State, but they lose to us?
That'd be nice.
I
That
think
put
that
us in the top spot.
I think that hurts Michigan a lot more than losing to
Well,
Penn
yeah.
State.
I think even if they lost all their game or won, well, what am I trying to say? Never mind, that came out wrong. Continue. Disregard what I just said.
I think it would affect them more if they lost to Ohio State. I think that's the type of loss that would knock them out of playoff contention. I
Yeah,
think because here's the thing: if they lose to Penn State tomorrow, right? There's still the chance they can make it as a one-loss team, especially if they do beat us. However, if it's flipped, they beat Penn State but lose to us, it's over.
that's usually what it comes down to.
I think we're looking at just like a loss as a category. Um, I don't know. Like if it's a close game, I think that's a different story than if they get blown out by 47 to 49 to 7.
Well,
You know what I mean?
you gotta think too about all the bias that's going around right now. Like this is not a very fairly ranked season per se, and with all their allegations, that does affect them. I mean, a lot of those ESPN analysts are talking about their allegations, their strength of schedule. So if they lose one of their only ranked games with all their allegations, I don't think they make the playoffs. But this is also
They're
the
gonna
same stuff coming out of ESPN analysts' mouths, and I mean, I can't really argue with them. I can think they're wrong and that they just say certain things for clicks, which is I'm sure is very true. But it's
Nah, look, if Michigan loses to Ohio State 42 to 45, they're still getting in.
you think so?
Mhm. Now, if they were to lose 45 to 3, no shot they get.
But if they lose to us, they don't get to go to the Big Ten championship.
that's really what it comes down to. Whoever wins the championships, because we're just gonna end up
Because
playing like Nebraska or some shit
because
or
what happened
Iowa.
last year with Ohio State, right? The fact that we made it is that situation itself has to be unbelievably rare for the way that we actually made the playoffs. I don't see that happening again for other teams. That
No,
that was
because
just
It's kind of crazy.
like
that
they
would mean if we beat Michigan, if we're the only team that they lose to, and we go to Big Ten, let's say we play Iowa, somehow Iowa beats us, Michigan then probably has a chance to get it. That's
yeah.
that's probably their only
But
chance.
and if we beat, we're not. That is not going to happen
But I'm just saying. I mean, it
because
happened in
then like
2018.
that's true. But like if we do beat them, right? Is there really any chance that they're going to be able to get a spot in over like Oregon or Washington? Because
Probably not.
Georgia's there for sure, right? That's a for sure thing. Everyone knows that Georgia's in the top four and they'll stay
It's
there.
a lot of football to be played.
There
There
sure
is, but
is.
there are certain teams that are not going to get knocked out.
I mean, Florida State's had a couple close calls, so we'll just have to wait and see.
They're a team that could slip out of the top four. And
Yeah,
if they
who's not going to get knocked out?
Georgia,
Georgia,
I don't see them getting knocked out. I would like to say I don't see us getting knocked out, but there's that last game of the
it's
season is too
it's still
iffy.
up in the air. Yeah,
But I don't see Georgia getting knocked out. I just don't. Especially
They
like
lose to Bama in the SEC championship, they still get in.
I think so. I think by that point that their resume will be strong enough to hold on to.
They ain't play no ranked team besides Ole Miss, right?
I think they have 2 or 3 more ranked games though to end their season.
Oh, they might.
man,
So
I'm have to pull it
if
up
they
real
win
quick.
out regular season, I think they can afford to lose that chance because they've already been lost their games, right? So with the way Georgia's playing, the points they're putting up, the way their defense has been this year, I think they can lose a bowl game and still make it. That resume is going to be too strong. I mean, it's the only reason Ohio's #1 right now is because of how
The
strong that
only
resume was.
they Ole Miss and Missouri. Yep, 2.
They don't play anymore. Don't they play
No,
you guys?
they played Tennessee the second to last
Yeah,
game of the season.
And that's another ranked team, so that's 3. So
That's
if
uh,
three in a row.
and if they win those 3, dude, you can't take that shit from them. They'll have the strongest strength of schedule and they'll have the best resume by then in the country.
Yeah,
yeah, but
so
if Michigan wins out, they get how many? At least 2.
two good ones. Yeah, Two
It's
top
That means
tens.
they're in the SEC or the Big Ten championship, and they might get a third ranked win if that were to happen.
I think I think when we come back on Sunday, just for fun, when we come back on Sundays, we should all come back with like a list of our own top 4 or top 6 on
Okay.
what we personally think these teams are at.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
Do that.
idea. That's a good
Because we'll all
idea.
look at it from different ways probably, you know.
Uh-huh.
I don't see any of us being eye test people for sure. I know we're all going to come back here with logic and common sense, and I'm sure all of our rankings will be fairly similar, minus maybe having this team at 2 and a different team at 3. But other than that, I don't see us having many things that are different.
Yeah,
Probably
and
not.
it's gonna be current, only up to date, right? Like,
Yeah, we'll just
Yep.
talk about that previous weekend because I mean I feel like it'd be fun because the official rankings won't be out yet, so it'd be cool to
yeah,
see how close we are to like what they're doing out there.
yeah,
Um,
bet that.
I do hope that I can come back on Sunday though and believe that Oregon will move in. I don't know why, dude. I want them to make it. I don't know what it is. I like what I see from them this year. I hate that
Thankful-
I hate that they beat us 2 years ago, but I'm over it. I feel like they. Here's the thing. Like, I was listening to a show this morning. This guy had 4 or 5 teams that he thinks are national playoff contenders. Right? He had a couple teams that he thinks are right below that line, where if they could just tweak 1 or 2 things, they're national playoff contenders. And then you have the teams where if they can tweak those 1 or 2 things next year, they can be national playoff contenders. Minus being in that the whole new top 12 thing. Like those teams where if it still was top 4, if they were able to fix a couple things here and there that they could be. Um, I want to say it was either on 3 or Joel Klatt, one of those two. Basically, what he said was the teams he has right now that are national championship contenders are Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon. Now he said right below the line, whereas if they could tweak 1 or 2 things, and they could still do that this year, he had Alabama, Florida State. Oh, I'm trying to think.
Had to be Washington.
It might have been Washington. I want to assume it was Washington. I don't think he had them in that first group, like where these teams are 100%, playoff ready. Um, and then he said like one of the examples for the teams that he thinks could make a statement next year would be Penn State. And I don't think I disagree anywhere with what he was saying. From how these teams have been playing and what they're showcasing and how the teams that they've played have progressed throughout the season, I think the Big Ten is going to turn into a serious problem. Do I think they're going to be able to like, oh, they're just as good as SEC? Probably not. That'll definitely take some time. Other teams have to come in and progression has to happen throughout the years. But it's by this time next year, it'll definitely be SEC and Big Ten, and
Yeah,
that's
it'll be a
Oh
different
yeah,
conversation. We'll see how everything plays out. It's gonna get so good, man. So
it
much good
is.
football.
Are Oregon, so USC and UCLA, what are they in?
Pac-12,
Is Oregon in that too?
I think so. All right.
Okay, so
I'm not
realistically,
sure.
you're taking this franchise right here. You're taking all their best teams and just moving them. So like, will the Pac-12 even be something to talk about by this time next year? Will it even
All
matter?
right. If it
Probably
even
not.
exists, those other teams could go elsewhere. We don't know.
That's what I'm excited for because obviously, the Big Ten's always they've been there, but that's really only because of 1 or 2 teams. While you have the SEC where they're just a powerhouse and there's multiple teams that can play real football there. So I'm
Yep.
I'm excited to have that battle between the two on who's got better football teams right now. Because that's going to change throughout every week of next year. It's going to maybe the Big Ten's looking better in week 2. And then by week 4 the SEC has a fucking dominant week and they're shitting on people and well now they're looking better. Cuz I feel like I don't know. I don't think it'd really matter, but I think it'd be very cool to see a game between number 1 in SEC and number 2 or number 1 in Big 10.
Yeah.
Even if
Would be
that's
cool
just
to
for
see.
like entertainment purposes, right? Like if it's just one of those games, just so people could watch it. I think that'd be cool.
Kind of like
Good.
what is that called?
All-star game.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if they really wanted to, they could do that after the national championship games played, so no one's risking getting injured and throwing that season. Because like the game could
Man,
still
them dudes
happen.
wouldn't play that. They trying to go to the league.
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, and we had that experience last year with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He didn't want to play against Georgia. If he was there, do I think we could have won? I do. I think that was
Easily.
a receiver that would have made a difference for us, but he didn't want to. I have to respect his decision. He's in the NFL now. Is he
That's
making
not
his
a tough decision, bro.
Now here's where my issue lies with it. I understand that he did not want to risk getting injured, but he's also not having as anywhere close to a type of season that Garrett Wilson or Olave had. So I'm kind of upset he didn't want to play against Georgia because like what he's doing in the NFL isn't what I'd like to see from somebody that chose to opt out of that type of game to save their health. Because like I don't know, man. Like obviously, if the trainers say, "Hey, you shouldn't play in this game," then that's one thing. If you got your medic team saying that it's for your safety that you probably should not play in this game if you want a future in the NFL, then I get that. But from the way he was acting throughout the season, leading up to that game, he had already missed other games where he was technically eligible to play and was choosing not to. Yeah, I don't know if
Was
I
he
like that too
where
much.
where did he go in the draft?
Seattle.
First round, second round,
I think it was first round.
That was first round.
first round. So put yourself in his shoes. You're about to go out there and play a bowl game, and you're one play away from getting that family generational wealth.
That's
One
true.
play away from that just getting taken away from you that fast.
I guess
No,
it just depends what you care about more at that point in time. Do you want to be with your team to try to take them to a national, or do you want to try to secure the future? Because it obviously, that's a personal preference where I'm sure players think about it goes either way. There's definitely going to be players that want to try to get that ring to be considered a national champion, and there's going to be people that are like, man, I'm about to go to the league, I gotta secure that.
Gotta
Like,
go to the league.
right.
it,
It's a hard.
yeah, because you kind of got to respect whatever decision they decide to make.
Mhm.
If they want to come back and play for you and you do win the national, you're like, oh man, I'm so glad you did that. But if they go to the league and have a great rookie year, it's like, damn, like, well, I see why you did what you did. He's not having the best rookie year.
Just stayed.
It is what it is. I can't expect every player from Ohio State to go to the NFL and do crazy things.
I think Marv's going. This is last year for sure.
Marv is leaving after this year. I mean, he has no reason not to. He's basically at the point where like any team in the NFL could use him,
Yeah.
and that's definitely a gift because obviously there's a lot of times where what a team needs is going to affect how you get drafted. But when you're just him like that, and literally any NFL team could use you, that shows something. But it also makes
Speaking
me
of
nervous.
NFL,
It makes me nervous for his draft because what shitty ass team is he going to go to? Because we've talked about this, right?
Oh
We've talked
man.
about this. The better you are as a player, more than likely the worse of a team you're going to go to and the harder your career is going to be. And that's the big difference between college and NFL, man. When you're great in college, you're going to go to only the best teams. When you're great in the NFL, ooh, good luck.
well, he's either
Yeah.
going to the Panthers or the Bears.
See, and where does he win in that situation? Justin Fields can't throw for shit right now.
I don't even think he's playing.
He's not. They got this other white boy, and they're doing better than him. That's damn near in the same situation as that Vikings guy. He barely knows who the fuck they are, and he's out there doing better.
Well, the Panthers are winning 10-3 right now.
See, and that's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. Who on the
What's his
Panthers
name?
is making noise? Because not even Bryce Young is making noise.
Yeah,
Let me
like
see.
super playmakers. They got like DJ Moore still.
And that is not a playmaker. I barely pick him up in fantasy football.
Right, like who was that in their squad?
It must have been a defensive touchdown they got because it doesn't show any offensive players having a touchdown.
Bro, it's even worse.
Yeah. You want to hear this? Chicago's quarterback, his name Begent. He's 6 for 12 with 58 yards. Bryce Young is 5 for 11 with 53 yards. And there's 7:29 left in the second.
See, that's a situation where if you're one of the head referees of a game, you just got to decide if it's even worth letting that bitch finish or not. You really
Just cut it off at halftime, dude.
like if I'm the head ref, I'm getting on the mic and I'm saying, "Attention, everyone that's in this game. It is halftime. If you choose to leave now, we will give you half the money back for your ticket, and you can be on your way." Like we're just gonna use
The winners decided at halftime.
we're just gonna use AI to simulate the rest of this game, and that's what it's gonna be.
Make it to the referee's discretion. Whatever he thinks is out of hand,
Call
that's
it.
it. I'm calling it.
I get it in the NFL, like the whole low scoring thing. all these players are very good at their jobs, but dude, that shit is so lame sometimes. Like, to me, low scoring is like 21-17 type game, right? But if I'm in the third quarter and this bitch is 10-7, bro, somebody do something. Somebody do something. I feel like I'm not asking for much for just one guy to have a play. Let me see something, bro. Like, I can't. And it's not like if it's good football, that's one thing, right? Like, if those teams are going out there and playing good ball and they just can't get the touchdown, there's big plays happening, there's great stops on defense, I'm locked in. I love that. But if
Yeah.
it's just consistent punt, 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 dude, I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah, that'll get boring, man. Then them teams start playing ping pong.
Right, because like if you're running for 8 yards and then the defense gets 2, 3 stops on you, you got to punt. That's cool. But if it's like 3 incomplete passes and a shitty 1 yard run, dude, I don't want to see that. I'm tired of that already. The first time I see that in a game, I'm over it. Like, and that's happened a lot with Ohio State this year. There's been a lot of games where it's just kind of punt back and forth till halftime. We'll figure it out later. Like, dude,
Yeah,
figure it out
that's
now.
that's usually how we start out.
I did see something kind of interesting while we got a couple minutes left. A lot of the Ohio State podcasts I listen to, what they think is the worst part of Ohio State right now is the special teams.
Mm-hmm.
They said last week during the Rutgers there was some weird issue going on with the punter where he was told to run to the right and then punt to the left.
Sense
Which
does that make?
You find that?
yeah, it's in one of it's you guys still see my screen or no? Is it still up? I think I got rid of
No,
it.
you closed it.
No, I can't see it.
What kind of sense does that make?
But see, here's the issue. That's what Ryan Day was saying to do. And it's one thing if it works and it's a good punt, right? But it didn't. It was not a good punt. Let me go to how do I peep my history? Here we go. Oh god, this is what I do at work. This is the podcast though that it was on. Oh, let's see. These guys upload so consistently. 18 minutes ago, 6 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 16 hours ago.
Jeez.
But this is also like this is a huge group of people that run this YouTube channel together.
How
But these
many?
oh god, like at least 10. This guy's the guy with the glasses right here, he's here a lot. They got I mean there's a couple dudes on here that are former NFL players that played at Ohio State, retired and came back for a podcast.
Wow.
There's one I think is these guys right here. They're always at the fucking facility. I don't know how they're in there, but they're always in there. They're standing there. Empty as fuck. They're just doing a podcast. Right here, special teams issues, need for change. They want to fire our special teams coordinator. Maybe not right now. They were talking about how like maybe right now it's not the best time to do that because of how late we are in the season. But from what they've seen last year and this year with how the special teams is kind of failing us, that they think next year might be a question that needs to be asked. Because like remember how I was telling you guys Ohio State was the only team in the country to not allow a single 40-yard play?
Yeah.
Our special teams is the reason we don't have that stat anymore. Because
I mean,
they let somebody get like a 46-yard punt return. And
No, I thought it. Well, what's his name? Manungai from Rutgers, the running back. He had like a 40-something yard
I
run.
saw that. I mean, we already blew the stat by then though.
Oh, okay.
So like I would have been a little more upset if the defense initially had let that stat go and it was their fault that it happened. But the special teams did it like last week, 2 weeks ago. They already let it happen.
Oh shit.
And that's just like I feel like that's a weird area to be bad in, especially at a school like Ohio State. Like, because who do you really put the blame on, right? Because you could put the blame on the special teams person, but who's he supposed to report to? Ryan Day. So it's like it goes both ways. Because like
it's the coordinator. It's the ST's coordinator. They're running all his strategies, all of his kickoff ideas, all of his stuff. That's what he brings.
But do you put any blame on Dave for continuing to allow him to be there and letting those things happen, I guess? As a head coach, do you feel like it is his job to like step in and be like, "Hey man, like if you can't get it together, we're going to have to cut you loose." Cuz those things
Yeah,
haven't
some
been
point.
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of their special teams plays to know if Ryan Day should fire his ass or
I mean,
not.
well
I mean,
that
there aren't too many of them to be honest with you.
no, but like like I said, it's one of those things, bro. When you're a school like Ohio State, only 2 or 3 of them is really enough to start asking questions. I'm like, hey man, like, are you good here? Like, are you sure?
You're
Are you
right.
sure this is a place like where your shit's gonna work? Because like
Yeah.
that's fine and dandy if it works against the Pac-12, but is it gonna work here?
Send that boy to Eastern Michigan. Something.
I'm sure all his plays would work just fine over there. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't really know exactly where they were talking about it. I don't really want to
It's
listen to the
important
whole.
though. It's a whole third of the game. There's 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. It's a whole phase of the game. It's
Yeah,
really
and
important.
they're responsible for a lot,
Yeah.
especially on kickoffs and punts. I mean, if you're letting guys run for 30, 40 yards on punt returns and kickoffs, like that can lose you games.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the kickoff is very important. That starting field position is everything. That's a whole momentum changer. Fair catch. Okay, now you're at the 25. But if you can run yourself up to the 35, yeah, it's only
Yeah.
10-yard difference, but that's a huge difference in the momentum of that drive now.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You get momentum started like that, and you get the crowd into it if you're home. It's more than 10 yards right there at that point.
All right, we're at hour one. Last thoughts. What games are we most excited for to watch this weekend?
Michigan, Penn State.
I agree,
I think that was without a doubt.
100%. I think anybody watching would agree. That is probably the game this weekend. For me, after that, it's gonna have to be Georgia and Ole Miss. Um, I don't think
And
Ole
then
Miss will
for me,
win. I really don't think Ole Miss will win, but I think they have a chance to make a statement here. I think they have a chance to prove that they're like, hey, make some noise for us because we're a real football team,
Is that
odds
at
don't
Georgia?
win.
huh?
Is that at
Odds
Georgia?
don't win. Oh my bad.
Oh, you're good.
I think it is at Georgia. I'm not 100% though.
Okay, that might make a difference then.
What's the odds you think Ole Miss will win?
Like percentage wise, like if it was like 50-50 or whatever, I think I'll go I'll give Ole Miss the benefit of the doubt and I'll go 60-40 if the proper Ole Miss can show up and play ball. Because really all it takes is one play, right? All it takes is one big play to change the whole momentum of a game. Just like Michigan's really been playing the same defense this whole year, but if Penn State goes out there tomorrow or on Saturday and can get one 60-yard touchdown pass, that's going to change how they play for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Their defense is forever changed the rest of the season. What
For
about you,
sure.
Slates? Besides Michigan, Penn State, and Georgia, Ole Miss, what's one more game you're looking forward to?
Tennessee, Missouri. Make sure y'all tune in on Saturday. Watch the boys get a dub in Missouri. I'm excited for that one. It's a big
I'm
game
excited.
for
It's gonna be a good weekend. I'm
It's
excited
gonna
to
be a
come back
great
Sunday
weekend.
with some thoughts.
some heat. Hopefully, let's go Vols, baby.
That sounds like a good plan. So when we group back up on Sunday, we can talk about the recaps of those 3 games. We'll talk about Ohio State for like 5 minutes because that shit ain't gonna be nothing.
But yeah,
Unless Marvin Harrison can get like 200 yards receiving, there's really not gonna be much to talk about.
No.
we'll see.
All right, then I think that's a wraps, boys. That was a good episode. I
That's
think we,
wraps.
everyone watching, thank you for being here. It was episode 7 of Traitors Up North. We are gonna be changing how things work around here starting very soon. It's gonna go from 1 hour episode every Friday to 3 20-minute episodes each week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So be on the lookout for those. Topics are gonna be hot. Gonna be a couple hot takes here and there. Gonna be a lot of facts though. Gonna be a lot of facts coming out of these episodes. We're really not ones to be biased. I think throughout the whole time we've been doing this show that we're pretty down to earth on what's real and what's not. So I think we're all excited for that. We hope you're all excited. Once again, you got your boy Yagmi, good friend Michael, good friend Donovan. We thank you all for being here. Look forward to seeing you guys soon, and we'll talk later. Peace.